Okay, so I wanted to give a little bit of an update. I'm doing okay. It's just I'm taking one day at a time. My gut is still in total dysbiosis. Some days are good, some days are really bad. Yesterday was not a great day. Today turned out to not be so great, but then this afternoon's okay. So it's kind of a hit or miss thing. Man, it's weird because like no one person goes through this the same way, and no one person feels the same thing when your gut goes into total chaos. And so I think like that's the thing behind what the message I want to share for anybody else. If you go through SIBO or have IBS or have dysbiosis, it's not going to be the same for you as it is for me. It's not going to be, there are certain individual things that are the same in regards to like, hey, if you go through SIBO, you should be spreading your meals out between 3 and 4 hours. Yeah, okay. Granted, that's a good idea, but I will say don't get caught up in a lot of the rules. At first, for like the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I was really, 3 weeks, really caught up in the rules. Like they were like, oh, you can't eat between 3 or 4 hours, and if you snack, that's a huge issue, and even if you take a taste of something, your motor migraine stops. Don't drink a ton of water, just sip it. Yeah, don't do that. Don't take the rules and just absolutely apply them based on like what you have to do. Especially for the FODMAP diet. So something that I found is that I am unique in the FODMAP diet. You're going to be unique in the FODMAP diet. Some things are going to bother you that are not going to bother me. For instance, like I'm looking, I don't know if any of you know. If you know of the FODMAP diet, this is just a really simple one. This is the Gastrology Consultants of San Diego. There's a more comprehensive list you can find online. This is the one with the prettiest picture. But it's got foods to avoid and foods to enjoy. And on have like the different meats that you can have. Because all meats are pretty much, you know, on basis with what they're okay with. Red meat's kind of a here nor there. I think red meat bothers me personally. So if it doesn't bother you, go for it. I don't think it's bad on the FODMAP diet. I think it's an okay thing. But anyway, when it comes to the FODMAP and how quickly to introduce different foods is up to you as a person. And so in the last week, I think I've introduced like 20 different foods. Tuna, sardines, bamboo shoots, quintoa. I don't even know what that is. I'm using this though, before this happened to me, before SIBO hit me, I didn't even know what SIBO was. I didn't have IBS. I had EPI, endocrine pancreatic insufficiency, and I had my gallbladder removed. I had diarrhea every morning. That was just like my normal. I had some stomach pain in the morning, and then that was that. I would go throughout my day and then not really worry about like what I ate outside of. I did stay away from gluten because it would constipate me after about 3 or 4 days of eating gluten. And then dairy, I didn't eat it in large amounts because I would just have a colon flush. So every single time I needed a colon flush, I'd eat a bowl of ice cream before I went to bed. That was it. Pretty simple. Now though, it's like I'm watching every little thing that I eat, and I'm really super particular. And I will say this, there's good and bads about that. The good is I do feel better about what I eat because I'm not adding in a bunch of preservatives. Whereas before, like, we didn't have a lot of preservatives. We ate a lot of fresh meat, especially. We didn't eat packaged meat. But in regards to, like, other things, from time to time I'd have a snack and not care, you know, what's on the label. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to not caring what's on the label, but then I also want to eat a little more farm fresh. I want to eat some more like the whole fatty stuff, because whereas before I would avoid a lot of that because I'd get stomach pain if I had a lot of fatty fish or sardines in oil. You know, it would just cause me some stomach pain. I would get sardines in mustard brine instead. Last night I had sardines in oil and it worked out okay. So be a little more, do what's right for you. If you are ready to introduce foods, start introducing some foods. You know, reactions to one food you may have, but you may not to another. And you could introduce 2 new foods in a day and ignore the reactions and then just keep eating it, and your microbiome will get used to it. The more I read about the low FODMAP diet, the more it's suggested that you're not on it for a long period of time. This is not a lifestyle. This is not something to live by. This is something to go by, just so that way you can pick and choose what foods kind of aggravate you. Don't expect to live on it. Don't expect to abide by it wholeheartedly, because the more that you restrict from your diet, the more your stomach doesn't get used to those foods, the more you will have a reaction to those foods when you reintroduce them. So you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. That sucks. Anyway, though, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Just do what's right for you. I have noticed, like, there are some people, before this all started, like at the very worst, I was in gastroparesis, which my upper stomach was not emptying the way that it should. I think it is emptying okay now. I think my small bowel is still really, really damaged. And so that's, and my colon, my large bowel is in complete dysbiosis. So those things are still going on. But in regards to reintroducing foods, I'm introducing absolutely as much as I can, because I want that biodiversity. I want to be able to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and have my stomach not get upset. And I want to learn what is right for me, what is good for me. So yeah, the vegetables, I'm buying things don't even know how to spell in the store, that I've never even seen in my life. The fruits I'm still a little leery about. So I've got some kiwis sitting in the fridge, because fructose is one thing that I know that probably added to this issue, is the fructose sugars. Because I was eating an apple a day, whereas before I had never done that when this went down. So that is one thing that I'm like really leery about, is the fructose. But my point is, be adventurous, be courageous, step outside of your comfort zone, because your stomach in the end will thank you for it. Don't go off doing something that's going to hurt you, but don't be so timid that you're not going to add it in 2 or 3 weeks, because you're going to have 2 or 3 weeks of hell anyway, you know, or 2 or 3 weeks of wondering and getting anxious about it. And then by the time it comes to actually try it, you're so anxious about it. It's not that your stomach reacted badly. It's that your anxiety caused your stomach to react badly. So keep that in mind. FODMAP diet's not supposed to be forever. It's not supposed to be a way of life. It is supposed to be a guide to help you reintroduce foods to see what you're having a reaction to. All right. Good luck to everybody. IBS is BS. Advocate for yourself. If you think something's going on with your stomach, it is. Till next time.